Welcome to the hotspot, and I'm back again with some big breaking news that has just come in concerning Manchester United. Guys, I am always live here at exactly 10 p.m. but because of breaking news, like I told you, anytime is breaking news time, and here I am with more breaking news for you concerning the biggest football club in the world. Manchester United have officially submitted their first official bid of this transfer window that just opened today. And again, that clearly shows you that it is business unusual. United means business. There is no wastage of time. There is nothing to waste right now. United is down to business on the opening day of the transfer window, as Manchester United has officially had their first bid rejected by Chelsea. Manchester United has made an initial bid for Mason Mount, and it has been confirmed by all the biggest sources you can think of, including that man Fabrizio Romano, who has tweeted confirming that Manchester United have submitted an opening bid for Mason Mount today, as they guaranteed to the player days ago. I spoke about this earlier on today, telling you Man United guaranteed they had talks with Mason Mount, but they had not yet submitted an official bid for the player. Now, the player and United had agreed on the terms, but it is now the clubs to engage. Remember, Chelsea does not want to sell, but here is the bid. A bid worth £40 million has been rejected by Chelsea, and of course several other guys have come out to confirm these reports, from Matlow, from Telegraph, and all other. But United is not thinking of relenting, as they do plan to go back with an improved bid for the player. Remember, the two clubs have been in a disagreement over the actual price of the footballer who grew up in the Chelsea academy. He was raised by the academy of Chelsea. He has won a few things here and there. He's only 24, and he has been Chelsea's best player for the past few seasons. So that's the latest development coming through concerning Manchester United, and I'm going to be dissecting deeper into this story because I do think it's a huge one. It's a massive one, and I think as a United supporter, I should be happy about this. Even if they have rejected the bid and United are contemplating going back with an improved bid, I think the fact that United has actually made an official bid for me is a good sign. It actually shows me that the ownership issues are just pending announcement. But I actually think that they were sorted. We're just waiting for the announcements. But let's not think about the announcement. Let's celebrate the fact that Manchester United has finally made a bid for a footballer, because there was a lot of uncertainty, meaning now they do know how much they want to spend, where their money source is. So for me, this is a brilliant sign. If you're just joining us, the breaking news is that Manchester United have submitted their first bid of this transfer window, and it has been for none other than that young player Mason Mount, and it has been rejected by Chelsea. The bid is worth £40 million, as I reported earlier on, like I've been reporting. But Chelsea do value their player at least £70 million. United feel that's quite on the high side. So they are hoping to come back with an improved bid. But what is certain is United won't be meeting Chelsea's asking price of £70 million for a player who is left with only 1 year on his contract, but also a player who is unhappy and wants out of the club. Subscribe to the hotspot as we continue to dig into conversations concerning Manchester United. Now, that's the big news that has just come through from wherever you are. People in Kampala, that's in Uganda. People in the United Kingdom, in London. People in Leeds. People in Jamaica. I saw some people who watch us from Kingston, Jamaica. For those of you who do follow us from Accra, that's in Ghana, from Lagos, Nigeria, people from Durban, South Africa, people from Free State, everywhere you are watching, people from South Sudan, Madiak, among others. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of it. We do bring to you the hottest stories concerning the biggest football club in the country. If you talk, rather in the world, that's Manchester United. And the biggest breaking story that has just come through now is that Manchester United have had their bid for Mason Mount rejected by Chelsea. This is the first official bid made by Manchester United this season. Now, of course, there's a gentleman called Chris O'Hagan. Chris, one love, my brother from Ireland. Thank you so much for tuning in from Ireland. Now, the news is coming. You can, guys, tell me what you think about the news. I will say, for me, I'm not even... I think ordinarily, as a fan, you should be sad that your club is bidding for a player they have craved for a long time and the bid is being rejected. But for me, I'm actually so happy about this because Manchester United has finally made an official bid. So for me, that speaks to a lot of things. It's a sign of a lot of things that we don't see. I think it's the sign that finally right now we know the direction the club is taking, that finally right now the coach is aware of how much money he has got to spend, because you cannot go and bid for a 40 million pounds player when you don't know how much money you have to spend. So I think it shows you that behind closed doors these guys know where the future is. There was talk of Kylian Mbappe, and at 10 p.m. my plan was to come and give you an update about Kylian Mbappe. I do wonder, depending on how long I'll go on with this, whether I'll come back at 10 p.m. With live, but we can choose to take it all at once with this breaking news. You can let me know what you think, whether I should come back, because we are here every day, like I told you, live at 10 p.m. But the breaking news couldn't have waited until 10 p.m. But going back to that, so for me, the fact that Manchester United has made an official bid for a player, it shows you that now I think there is more clarity. There is big progress in terms of where we are headed. I don't think in the situation we are in, because you don't make a bid for a player before the owners of the club sign on it or approve it. So for me, this is a sign that United is taking progress. We are making progress in the ownership dilemma. It also shows me that we know now there is clarity on what Erik ten Hag wants to do. Ten Hag is, by the way, on holiday in Ibiza. And but he's, of course, he had his plan left behind from way back. He knew clearly what he wanted to sort. But guys, the big breaking news concerning Man United now is that United's bid for Mason Mount of 40 million pounds has been rejected by Chelsea. So for me, this is a good thing. I will not even cry about it. Of course, this can appear to be a problem, but for me, I think we will eventually get Mason Mount. We will take back an improved offer. Chelsea are just trying to hold out for the best bargain they can get and get as much as they can from a player who wants to leave them. But also the player has accepted personal terms with Manchester United. So for me, I have no doubt Mason Mount is going to be signed. Am I too excited? Not so much. For me, he wasn't the first priority of a signing, but I don't care. The fact that he's going to already a bid has been registered and officially tabled, been rejected. We are planning to go back with an improved bid. It's a good sign that the club is taking the right direction and we are making moves early in the transfer window. It's the first day of the transfer window in the summer. This is the hottest window where we've got to make big business. In the last transfer window, a record 1.9 billion pounds was spent. This time around, I will tell you, I think records are going to be broken. If a team like Arsenal can go for a player worth close to 100 million pounds, it shows you that this time around there is so much money that will be spent. But I will stick to Manchester United because, well, the first official bid has come in and it is for none other than Mason Mount. It has been rejected, yes, I would say sadly, but for me, I'm okay with it because I know if we do want the player, we will get him. The fact that we've made an initial bid of 40 million, for me, 40 million is still, well, I know that players like Eden Hazard were sold for about 100 million, yet they had 1 year left on their contract. But I can't compare Mason Mount to Eden Hazard in any way. So for me, I feel like, well, under normal circumstances, that would be a bit on the highest. Nothing more than 40 for me. But the most I believe even United know they can pay for Mason Mount should be about 50 million pounds. And I'm sure they'll go back with that, 45 or 50 at most. But Chelsea is not getting 70. It's not happening. I don't think so. Chris O'Hagan is saying they appear to be going ahead with Ten Hag's plan. I thought transfers might have waited until the sales process had finished. This is what I think for me. The news behind the news, what I read behind this is that they have not just come out to make an announcement of who the owners are. But I told you that the leaking from Qatar, for me, was a clear sign. For me, it's just a matter of time. The Sheikh Jassim has taken Manchester United. Already they are working behind the curtains to get things done. I think they want to come out and announce. I think it's the right thing for the club. They want to come out and announce when they have done, the work behind the scenes, because under normal circumstances, one of the things that Erik ten Hag was facing, the issues he had, was his hands were tied. He was in a flux because there was no clarity on how much money is available to spend, when will it be available, and all that. And it was United could have made moves earlier on because teams were signing players. Liverpool was signing McAllister and what have you. But there was no assurance or clarity of what the new direction is. So for me, this bid on the opening day, because there were never obliged to make their opening bid today on the opening day of the window. It's a long transfer window going on up to September. So for me, this shows me that behind closed doors, where we are not, behind the scenes, the people around the club do know the truth, that the club has been sold to Sheikh Jassim, and already whatever Erik ten Hag is planning to do now is on the monies coming through from the Sheikh Jassim team. So for me, it's a huge positive. It's a huge statement. This takes away a lot from the pressure from on the fans and all. The fact that United has made a bid on the opening day of the window, a bold bid of £40 million, and is saying we are not relenting, we will be coming back. For me, that's the simple analysis. I will tell you, this is a sign that I think it is done. The Glazers have decided, and we will soon know who the owners of Manchester United are. But the plan, I believe, that Ten Hag is executing now is one they must have agreed on with the team from Sheikh Jassim's camp. But go on and let me know what you think about the news. First of all, Mason Mount, do you think he's worth anything more than £40 million? Well, in this day and age, the transfer window prices are crazy, and yeah, I think and he's an English player. There's a way these players can be overpriced and all, and 40 million is not the highest. 70 for me is where anything beyond 50 is where I would have issues. I think Mason Mount should not cost anything more than £50 million. In as much as we've got the Sheikh Jassim money coming through, I don't think we've just got to spend it carelessly. I do think we've got to do proper business. We've got to sell, smartly, or rather to buy players smartly, spend the money smartly, don't waste it. And if there's one manager I believe who can do that right, I think it's Erik ten Hag. But of course, this is not exactly him spending the money. I think he's got a team he works with. But for me, the bigger picture to look at is the positive from the fact that United has made a bid. That it shows you that things are moving now. Things are beginning to move. While other clubs have been, busy making moves and signing players, we've been dilly-dallying with the ownership issue. Not sure whether we'll have money to spend. Of course, we're starting to go into the mathematics of if we are going to spend, which players should United have to first sell, for how much, and what have you. I do feel now that I think this is a good sigh of relief. It shows you that now there is a direction, there is a plan, because you don't spend millions of pounds without a plan. You spend according to a plan, but also you don't spend from a source you don't know. You can't start spending, you can't start offering money when you do not know how much money you have. You understand? You can't start slicing a cake when you don't know the size of it. You can't start slicing a cake when you don't know the size of it. It's simple as that. So for me, this shows me that Ten Hag knows how much money he has to spend, and when it will be made available. Probably it has already been made available. He's expected to come back from Ibiza, from his holiday, to know a lot more about what's happening. But I think it was already, the plan for Man United was already there, and they are now just ticking boxes and executing because the assurance of the money has come in. So for me, that's what I think is happening at United, and I think that's a good sign for the Red Devils. So many players we've been linked to. I do think now it's the time to take action. I told you earlier on before about Diogo Costa, who has been a top target of a goalkeeper. There were talks of David Raya, that's the Brentford goalkeeper, who also attracting the attention of Manchester United. But Tottenham Hotspurs are in a cruising lead to sign him. In fact, I think before close of business today, they could be confirming him as their player, that is from Brentford. But the price was the issue, I think, dragging the whole signing of that goalkeeper, David Raya, 27-year-old, because he was priced at £40 million. But Spurs and Manchester United felt that was a bit on the higher price, but Spurs seemed to be interested in getting him as the replacement for Hugo Lloris. So meaning, United might want to take back attention, and now that the money seems to be there, the attention for United in terms of the goalkeeping position has got to go back to Diogo Costa, who, according to the latest reports that came in from Portugal, is from a newspaper in Portugal, it did report that whereas Diogo Costa has got a price tag of £64.2 million to his name, FC Porto will be willing to go down a bit because they have got huge financial issues. So that's the good news for Manchester United, that we could actually get Diogo Costa for a cheap. For me, the only disquiet I had about Diogo Costa was the asking price. I was always sure that they can be able to go down a bit, but how low can they go? That's FC Porto, for a player who came through their youth system. Last season, he's first in the senior team, and he was doing impeccably well. I do think they can go a lot down, and I think we can get Diogo Costa for about 45 to 50 million tops. That's what I think, and I think that would still be good business. So for me, I think there is a lot for us to be excited about concerning Manchester United now that the club has made the first official bid for the first official player United has tabled a bid for. That is Mason Mount from Chelsea. The bid has been over 40 million pounds. It has been rejected on arrival by Chelsea. United are saying we are not giving up. We are coming back with an improved offer. But certainly Chelsea will know their partner in negotiation. There is what they call your partner, your best alternative to a negotiable agreement, and Chelsea will know what their partner is. They feel they rate the player at 70 million pounds, but I do believe if they settle at 50, United will cash in, and they can as well, I think, settle for that. I do believe their partner will be at about 50 million pounds. That's what I believe. So for me, I think we'll sign Mason Mount. And what Mason Mount will add to the team, and just thinking about it, whereas, like I said, in the older circumstances before the clarity on, of course, who the owners of Man United are, before, I felt like maybe Mason Mount was not the player I would want to prioritize. He's not the first player I would want to go for, and all because the issues with money. There is no clarity of how much money you have to spend and all. But now that it seems there is money from Sheikh Jassim, who was clear in his 6.5 billion US dollar bidding for the club, he said he has 1 billion to invest in player recruitment and everything to improve the club. I do think now that we do have sort of some assurance in terms of cash to spend, I do think that actually Mason Mount is okay to come in at this time, because Christian Eriksen is certainly in the evening of his career. We saw him in the FA Cup final. I think for the most part he was just running around chasing shadows. Not that he's a bad player, but his best is way behind him. So you probably think Mount, being a young player, will come in, but of course also being an English player, because you must have English players in the team, a certain number of English players in the team. So I do believe in that regard, if we get him for anything not more than 50 million pounds, it would be okay business by me. It would be okay. But his signing should not be the focus for Manchester United. The focus now, after getting Mason Mount, who I believe we are going to be confirming sooner rather than later, United should go for a goalkeeper first. That's Diogo Costa. Go finalize with the guest refute. That is George Mendes. Sign Diogo Costa. And then move on to Kim Min-jae. Kim Min-jae is only waiting, I think, and I do believe, and this is what I've been saying, the negotiations that United has been having personal talks with all the players they have been aiming to sign for a long time. It was clearly reported that United had sent scouts to monitor Kim Min-jae for a long time. That's in Italy. They have been monitoring two players, Kim Min-jae and Rasmus Højlund. So those are players United has been watching for a long time. So they even spoke to them. So they agreed on personal terms with them and gave them assurances that the moment we have clarity on how much money we are going to have to spend and when, we will certainly come for you. So for me, Kim Min-jae, wherever he is right now, should be saying his final goodbyes to his friends and everyone in South Korea, because he knows they are coming for him next. I think Diogo Costa must be next. Kim Min-jae must be waiting in line, because these are key areas for Manchester United to solve. And then Rasmus Højlund, cheap player, 40 million pounds, shouldn't be a big deal for Manchester United when you do have the money. If you can spend 50 million on Mason Mount, you need a striker. It's your bigger problem to solve. I do believe in a finisher like Rasmus Højlund, you would certainly go on and pay that cash. So I do believe we can comfortably predict the next players United can go for, because the plan for Ten Hag has always been there. We have always known the plan. It was a question of when they will get the money and at what point. It is good that they are getting it early. I told you that Ten Hag made it clear that he wanted to have a proper, complete preseason. He's been on holiday in Ibiza, coming back next week. He would want to sort his signings and have enough time with his players. There will be no excuse for him come August when the next season does start. Guys, go on. Let me know. Drop your comments, guys, from Ireland, from the United Kingdom, from Kingston, Jamaica. Wagwan, my guys. And everyone watching from Lagos, Nigeria, from Accra, from South Africa, I saw guys from New York, from the United States, from wherever you are, from Uganda, Kampala. Guys, it's a big day for Manchester United and of course, the future of the club, because at least now we've made an official bid for a player, whereas the bid has not been welcomed like you'd expect. because Chelsea values their player at £70 million. They turned down 40, hoping for a better, improved offer from Manchester United. The truth is, United have now started business. They have gone down to business early in the window, and certainly that can only be good news. It's a big story that has just broken. We'll be giving you more, of course, as they do come. Do continue, guys. Go into the comments section there and let me know what you feel about this move. Chris Hogan was saying they appear to be going ahead with Ten Hag's plan. I thought transfers might have to wait until the sales process had finished. Well, I do think the process is done. It's just pending announcement. That's what I think. Official announcement is what we are waiting for, but I think most of it is done. I do want to believe, looking at the stock exchange and how it went up about 3.24%. You look at Kylian Mbappe coming out and making that announcement. I do think, for me, this is done now. Speaking of Kylian Mbappe, as we do continue to look at the transfers and speculations for Manchester United, Kylian Mbappe did drop a bombshell, and United is one of the teams that were alerted, because remember, according to reports we got, Kylian Mbappe was one of the key players in the plan for Sheikh Jassim's team when they take over Manchester United. They felt he's one of the first players they want to bring in and arrive with a bang. But what's the cost? What could be the cost of Kylian Mbappe? Now, Daily Mail have tried to come up with a figure. ESPN did try to come up with a figure, but Kylian Mbappe is priced at about 180 million euros, between 150 and 200 million euros. Now, he's got a year left on his contract, but like I told you, we've seen players like Eden Hazard, who are not anywhere close to Kylian Mbappe, sold at 100 million pounds with 1 year left on their contract. That's how much was sold by Chelsea to Real Madrid. So for Mbappe to cost 200 million euros right now, and PSG are furious with what happened, the leaking and the statements that Mbappe has gone around making, talking about how the PSG project has been dying. They did not do a couple of things right. So PSG is not happy. They are furious, and they are saying they are not willing to lose him for free. That will only happen if they refuse to cash in on him right now. So they certainly are going to be naming a price, and reports suggest that he's going to be priced at about 200 million euros, or between 150 and 200 million euros. Now that's close to 130 or 35 million pounds or thereabout. I think that's fine money in this day and age. I think with the way transfers and player prices have gone high, skyrocketed over the years, I do think that's fair money for United. If the Sheikh Jassim man has come in, if the financial fair play rules can allow us to get a player like Kylian Mbappe for 130 million pounds or 140, I wouldn't mind. He's 24, he's proven. You think, for me, that I think would be a smart signing, a good investment, one that would, without a doubt, yield returns for me. So with what has happened, United making an initial bid, an official initial bid for Mason Mount, taking it to Chelsea, it shows me that there is money to spend. Now it's a question of who do we want to spend on. So that's what I think. But guys, let me remind you, for those of you who are just joining us, the breaking news is that Manchester United has made its first official offer for a player, and that is none other than Mason Mount. These are, of course, the confirmations coming through. Of course, that is from Fabrizio Romano, who has come out to confirm that United have submitted an opening bid for Mason Mount today, as they guaranteed to the player days ago. I told you here that how they had spoken to the player and agreed on personal terms. He was excited to move from London all the way to Manchester. He said the bid is worth £40 million, and it is said that Chelsea have rejected the proposal, and they have no plan to accept a £40 million fee for Mount. Man United are planning to bid again with an improved offer. Obviously, that is the latest coming through concerning Manchester United and the transfers and all the speculations are going on. So this is not a speculation though. This is a confirmed bid by Manchester United. It has been rejected. Another bid will be made, and we are waiting to see whether that one will be taken. United too will start, of course, going down to business in terms of signing players because there is a lot. Kim Min-jae is the other player who United has been courting for quite some time. That is the defender from Napoli. It's a key area that Ten Hag has made clear consistently that he has got to solve. That's the defensive area. If you compare what other clubs are doing, with Arsenal moving fast to sign Declan Rice, yet they have had a lot of competition from FC Bayern. We do know that Arsenal are in advanced stages to sign Caicedo. United, by the way, whereas we've signed, whereas we've made our bid for Mason Mount and we're focusing on him, I feel that perhaps sooner, when we do get the money, if the money is there, which seems to be the case, we actually need a holding midfielder, someone to back up Casemiro. We've seen how United struggled whenever Casemiro was on a red card or injured out of the game. United struggled. We don't have a solid backup holding midfielder. And you feel that's one area. Of course, Caicedo is arguably the best in the Premier League right now. But I mean, the battles for him, and it seems, he must have agreed personal terms a long time ago with Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. But we need to get someone to back him up. The thing is, United has not been linked to a lot of holding midfielders in this window. But I actually think I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag signed one when if the money that has been availed is enough to allow that. Of course, it is not the first area United wants to sort, but if you consider next season and how busy it's going to be, you want to compete for everything you're in, because now the challenge is different. The challenge before was not really winning a treble for United, because it had been won in 1999. I think the challenge now is to win everything you compete in, if that can happen. So I think you need to have depth in every department. In terms of the holding midfield position, I don't think we've got depth. With guys, of course, the talks of Fred being among the guys who are going to be cleaned out, you get a sense that it is certainly going to be a difficult time for Casemiro playing in the Champions League, and then you go to play, in the Premier League, and then you play in the FA Cup, then you've got to play in the Carling Cup and all these other, the Carabao Cup and all these others. You think it is going to be a stretch for him. So that's why I feel there is need to bring in a player. He might not be, an old, world-class player yet, but you need a backup player who can come in, and I think you can find a few who can come in that holding midfield position and back up Casemiro. Younger and cheaper options, I think, can be got if the intention is there. But from my assessment, looking at the United team and how it might look next season, I do think that's an area we have not been paying a lot of attention to, but we think we need to pay attention to it, because, I mean, look at Casemiro. Casemiro is aging. He's 30 plus. So you think that's an aging player. You can't rely on them to play so many games for you. So that's, for me, an area now that the money seems to be there. We need to look at a little bit, more critically. But Ten Hag has a plan. Like Chris Hagan has said, that it seems they are now going ahead with Ten Hag's plan. I think so. He has certainly a plan. He has always made it clear, his plan to sort several departments. And right now, the first one he seems to be interested in sorting is that number 10 position, where Mason Mount plays, and he is certainly making fast moves. We are hoping to see a lot more happen as the transfer window goes on. Guys, I'll be going off in about 4 minutes, but I will be back at 10 p.m. with more news for you. More so, of course, still concerning this breaking story concerning this young boy, but of course we will also go on and talk a little more about Kylian Mbappe and his price, but also some more news that will have come up concerning Manchester United. We'll be continuing to look at this club in its entirety. But again, thank you so much, guys. It's a good day. I believe it should be a good day for anyone who loves Manchester United. It must be a good day for you. The news that has just come in is that Manchester United has tabled a bid of £40 million to Chelsea to sign the young man, the 24-year-old Chelsea midfielder. That is Mason Mount, but this bid has been rejected on arrival, and Chelsea are saying they are not willing to let go of their academy graduate for just £40 million. United are saying we are not giving up. We'll be back bigger and better, because now we do have the Sheikh Jassim Mane, which is about to be confirmed, I believe, and they are saying, well, we'll be back. So that's the situation going on at Manchester United. We'll be following this a lot more. We'll be giving you more stories as they come. If there's more breaking news, certainly I will be here to give it to you. Just keep subscribing and of course keep sharing with Man United supporters and everyone for them to get, of course, the news for those who haven't. Thank you. My name is Webb. This is the Hotspot, where you get all the hottest news concerning Manchester United and all the other big clubs, but most importantly Manchester United. Of course we talk about the others because I mean you can't talk about United alone, because you've got to talk about it in comparison with the teams we are battling with, and these include Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea and all the others. But that's the situation going on, and that's how it is so far. We'll be back at 10 p.m. That's in just about 1 hour from now. I will be back live. That is in the event that there is no breaking news before that. If there is, I will be back with more for you. But for now, guys, set your timer, notifications. I will be back at exactly 10 p.m. with more news that I had prepared for you concerning Manchester United, as the transfer window has just opened. It's the transfer talk here on the Hotspot. My name is Webb. Keep it the Hotspot. I'll be seeing you in a bit. Don't you move a muscle.